What's going on, everybody? Adam here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Peterson Dome Light for your enclosed trailers or your RVs. This is a round dome light. It's going to have a nice white finish. It's going to have a polypropylene housing and bezel around the edge. It really has a nice clean look. It comes with a little switch, so I really like when I have the option to turn it on and off. A lot of these trailer lights are just completely directly wired in, so sometimes I need a little bit more light, sometimes I don't need that much light. With this, I can either add light or take away light just with a little click of the switch. I like that just because you never know how much light you need or if it's a little too much light. And it is going to be an incandescent bulb, so it's not going to be LED. It's going to draw about 28 watts, and it's going to be for your 12 volt DC systems. So let's go ahead and pop this open and get a closer look at the bulb. So it's going to take the 1141 bulb. So if you have this and you just need a replacement, we do carry this bulb on our website. But if you are afraid you're not going to be able to find a replacement, we do have it here at eTrailer, and that's always a plus. Usually these kind of burn out a lot quicker than the LEDs, but if you do plan on going with the incandescent bulb, it's going to be a great option for you. As far as dimensions go, we're going to have about 6 5/16 inches wide, and that's going to be our diameter of the whole entire light. And it's going to stick out about 2 inches. So if you have 2x4s on the side of your enclosed trailer, it's not going to stick out any farther than they are sticking out. So you're not really going to bump into it. It's pretty low profile. And this is going to have a couple mounting holes, and they're going to be about 2.5 inches on center apart. To sum it all up, it's a fairly simple design. It's got a nice sleek look, and it's definitely going to be for the interiors, as it doesn't really have a whole lot of gaskets or anything to keep all that water out. One thing I don't like about this one is just the fact that it's incandescent and not LED. I'm a big LED guy just because they draw a lot less energy and they don't go out near as often. Yes, we can replace this bulb, but I'd rather just grab something that's going to last a little bit longer and drain a little bit less energy. But that's just me, and if you do plan on grabbing something like this, definitely go on our website and grab some of these connectors and maybe a couple replacement bulbs just in case. It's always smart to be prepared. So one thing we just need to go over is just how to install it. So if you stick around, we're going to show you. First things first, we want to figure out where we want to put our light. I'm just going to replace the light that was right here, and if you have wires ran, awesome, we can skip that step. And if you don't, run your wires. We're going to need a positive and a negative wire ran to the light for it to work. So next thing, we want to pop this lens off. It is easiest just to take a little flathead screwdriver, and there's a couple little notches on the sides, and that just helps it be nice and easy to take this off. And you can set that to the side for now, and that'll expose our mounting holes and our ground here, because this is a one wire system. So this will go to power, and then we'll utilize this for ground. So what you want to do is take your ground wire, and there's a little hole on the side. So we're going to go through the back just like this. And then you want to take a connector like this, and we do have these here at eTrailer, so you don't have to worry about going to the hardware store if you don't have them. But if you have them on hand, great. If not, just add them to your cart. And then we want to go ahead and crimp this down, make sure it's nice and tight. Proper ground is going to make this light properly work. So that is very important to get a clean connection, just like that. And you always want to give it a good tug to make sure it's nice and snug, so we're not going to lose that wire at all. So now that that's done, what we can do is move on to the power. So go ahead and strip your wires back, twist these together, and what we're going to use is a heat shrink connector, which we have them here at eTrailer. Same thing as before, strip out the wire, twist her together, and fit it in there. I like to do them one at a time just because it's hard to keep both of those wires in, especially if you're doing it by yourself. And just crimp that one side where it's nice and tight. And since we're going to be hiding these wires back in this hole, we want to really make sure it's tight because we don't want to lose that wire back in the hole, because that will be difficult to get back out. We'll do the same thing with this side. And go ahead and take your heat gun and shrink this up. If you don't have a heat gun, you can get away with using like a hair dryer. It'll just take a lot longer, but we want to make sure it's nice and tight. And this is really the best way to merge wires, just because it's nice and clean. It's going to be waterproof, just in case some sort of moisture gets in there. We don't have to really worry about it. And we are good there. So now we're pretty much ready to feed these wires back in to make it nice and neat. And then once it's kind of back farther, we want to make sure that, one, we put the switch where we want it. So I'll probably face it down towards the bottom. And then what we want to do is we'll just secure our ground before we really completely mount this down. And to do that, we're going to take this little piece here and we're going to line it up with this hole like that. And then we can go ahead and screw it into place wherever we see fit. The screws do not come with the kit. You're going to have to include your own hardware to mount it up. But you can really use whatever. Use self-tappers if you're going into the frame, or just use wood screws if you're doing what we're doing today. So once it's positioned right, we'll go ahead and screw this in. Not too tight, but plenty to get that ground wire nice and stationary. And this is a good time to go ahead and see if it works. We want to make sure that our connections are good and our ground's good. And if it is, then when I flip this switch right here, we'll see light. So we are good to go and finish the installation. There are a couple different mounting hole locations. We can use these here or the ones back here. I'm just going to use the elongated holes, just like this. All right, so now all we need is the lens. Pop that back on, and we are done. And that'll do it for a look at the Peterson Dome Light for your enclosed trailers or RVs. And I'm Adam with eTrailer.